Okay, I'm going to come right out and say it, and I know I'm not alone in saying this, but the Simic mechanic's a bit shit. And I don't mean that from a gameplay perspective, I mean that primarily from a design and flavour perspective. Hi, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and today we're talking more spoilers and mechanics from the new set Allegiances of Ravnica, Ravnica Allegiances, Ravnica Alliances. I still can't get it right. The Simic are like the biologist sort of opposite to the Izzet. They're all about mad science and shit that involves like grafting, I don't know, crab hands onto you or a fucking horse cock to make you better than what you originally were. How do we portray that in the card? Well, apparently we just stick +1/+1 counters on everything. The thing is, it's become a bit of a meme at this point that that's a bit of a lame way to portray the Simic, but I actually think that Graph from the original Ravnica block and Evolve from Return to Ravnica block were actually pretty good. I do think the new Simic cards might be a bit akin to the old Graph mechanic in some way. It looks like, for example, Zagana will give people trample, so it gives them an extra ability based on having the counters. They've evolved to do something extra. Why a Fish Lady gives trample, I have no fucking idea, but let's not focus too much on that at this point. The point is that the Simic are meant to work together, and through science they grow, and they're better than the sum of their parts, like a bird with the arms of Kerry King. I guess the problem comes in the fact that all of them give themselves counters, with some sort of adapt mechanic that can only be activated once. Oh. The thing is, it's almost functionally identical to Theros Block's Monstrosity. The difference was Monstrosity didn't care about having counters on it to activate again. It just checked to see if it had been monstrous before. So even if you wiped the counters away with something like Bioshift from the last RTR block, it wouldn't be able to become monstrous again. And Monstrosity is a pretty good mechanic. Most of the cards were pretty weak because we were in a downward sort of trend of the power creep sort of waves that we get in Magic, but the mechanic was pretty good. When you activated Monstrosity abilities like that on Pelucanos, it would do something. It would fight something, it would gain flying, it would gain other abilities, and perhaps that's going to happen through Simic having sort of lord-like creatures like Zagana that gives it that ability, but it's just weird that it's another mechanic that's named something slightly different and functions only marginally differently. Look at it this way, if you play a Simic themed commander deck and you grafted a counter onto a creature that had adapt upon it coming into play, you can't adapt onto it now because it's already got one counter. And if that feels like really bad anti-synergy, it's because it is. And that's not how these guilds should work between blocks, so ultimately I think adapt's a bit shit. It's interesting in some ways, because if we're going to have lord-like creatures that give trample or flying or crab link, which is like a lifelink but with crabs, then they play very similar to Abzan in the Khans block, where you had creatures that had Outlast. Outlast functions quite differently, but ultimately a creature that gave all creatures with counters flying or lifelink or first strike or whatever. So you have Monstrosity, Outlast, and then you have Adapt, and the cards that support the Adapt sort of archetype in Draft or Limited, and they all play in a similar way, or they cross over really heavily. And I don't know who coined it, but people said that really in Magic there's not that many different mechanics, they're all just variants of like kicker. Basically, everything's a kicker if you think about it. But I find it interesting that these mechanics are so similar, yet they have to be named thematically differently on each plane, as it were. Monstrosity wouldn't make sense because the Simic aren't framed from a narrative of Vorthos perspective as being monsters, so we have to call it something different. And it makes me wonder that if in time, with Magic and with 25 years of history and later on 30 years and 35 years worth of history, we're going to have to start renaming mechanics to be planar specific, which is kind of both annoying but also kind of cool. I don't know where I sit on that. It's just a weird musing that I thought whilst looking at this shit. Look, Adapt's going to be pretty good and limited. Having a mana dump is always good. Having creatures that's good when you play it on turn 3, like this homunculus thing that flies, and then good later on turn 6 when it gets bigger, to be able to block bigger things, that's all great. I just think it's a bit dumb for a Simic mechanic. And also, Zagana was the big bomby mythic. She was the leader of the guild. She had that trident. She was the prime speaker. Now she doesn't have the trident. She's not a prime speaker. I don't think she's the leader of the guild or a mythic. So perhaps there will be a better mythic coming with Adapt that will make me eat my crab-shaped hat. No, I keep going back to crabs. They have shark stuff as well, don't they? So maybe a mythic will come along that'll make Adapt look fucking wicked. Something akin to the original Mermaid, who knows? So Adapt is a big whiff, in my opinion. So I'm going to give it 2 beards out of 5 on this arbitrary scale that I've just invented for rating shit. But let's turn our attention to the Gruul, because the Gruul mechanic's fucking sick. Whoa boy, that is some spicy good shit. Riot is simple, it is basic, it is straightforward. In essence, it's Gruul. It works on a thematic perspective because it is simple like the guild that it represents. I guess in some ways it's very easy to make a simple guild mechanic fit because you just make it simple, where Simic are meant to be a bit more complex, so I guess having a dumb mechanic represent that complexity doesn't really work. So I'm not a game designer, what the fuck do I know? The Gruul are here to riot, smash, grab and go. The versatility of being able to choose between haste and a bigger creature is very, very good. Modal spells are always the good shit. The two creatures they have shown so far are absurdly good as well. Spellbreaker's a 3/3 mad lad looking to smash face and he ain't looking to do it tomorrow. He can be a 3/3 trample haste threat or a 4/4 trample creature that can block well the turn it comes down. Oh, and he randomly gives you hexproof on your turn, which means that Settle the Wreckage can't get you. Huh. Seems good. The 4-mana common version, which again has trample and again has a 3/3 body, is also a cat, which is kind of cool, I guess. It's a bit dull that both of them are the same kind of thing, but it's not bad that two of those things exist. I mean, the archetype in draft is obviously going to be some sort of fast, smash your tits in kind of gameplay. It's also cool that the mechanic for the Gruul gives +1/+1 counters, because it means the green creatures are playable in the Simic archetype in Limited as well, and you can also splash for some real good red shit. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's better than Blood Rush, and I think it's better than Bloodthirst in terms of Gruul mechanics. So I'm going to give this 4 Bombay Bad Boys out of 5. That's a flavour of pot noodle, for those that don't know. On my new arbitrary scale for assessing shit. The thing is, I might be giving the card a free pass because it's been stapled onto a very good rare that's probably going to be a constructed staple, so perhaps I'm looking at it and going, ooh, look at that power level. And in reality, if it was just stuck on a couple of commons, I might have been a bit harsher to it, kind of like I'm being with Adapt, but, maybe I'm just a sucker for playable cards. Oh, and they spoiled Anguish, I think it's called as well. It was spoiled in French. It's basically Hero's Downfall with 1 extra red pip and can destroy artifacts, so that's quite pushed and powerful. And exciting. Fuck, I love Ravnica. I love that every block seems to just come with these haymakers every single set. Yeah, Ravnica blocks are good. I like it when the power level is pushed, but not too far. I'm not talking like fucking Reality Smasher Thought-Knots here. I'm talking a Hero's Downfall that can destroy artifacts because it's a little bit red. That's all for today, you primitive fuckheads. I just thought I'd jump in and talk a little bit about the spoilers that I've seen. Give the video a thumbs up. Let me know what you think of this video itself, and let me know what you think of the guilds so far. Which guild are you gunning for at pre-release? It'll be interesting to see what people say now and what people say in a month from now before pre-release to see if the new spoilers have changed that and how the mechanics have sort of shaped up in amongst those spoilers. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. If you like bearded YouTubers who shout too much about shitting themselves, make spicy brews, and talk about magic, then perhaps you should click the subscribe button down below. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ta for now.
Meanwhile, across town, in this less than fashionable cubbyhole of the San Francisco Examiner, these editors are programming today's copy of the paper into that same Ohio computer. When the telephone connection between these two terminals is made, the newest form